What is up, guys? CM finally back with another video. I know it's been quite a long time, guys, but 2020 was not kind to me, so I have really been demotivated for. I was demotivated for a good few months, so I took a break from streaming from it's been like end of July, start of August, all the way until around about December, almost. And mostly because mental health reasons. I don't really want to get into it on the video, but I'm gonna leave it at that. And I just had to look after myself for a bit. Hope you guys understand. And I'm finally getting back into the motivation to make some videos for you guys as well. And I'm gonna start with Team Clash because it's what's hot right now. Of course, this is where we've got 4 different Wargaming community contributors. In this case, we have got Circon, New Multi 2K, Orzanel, and the Killzor Daki as the team commanders this time. Not the first time they've done this kind of event, of course. We've had this in the past. Last time we had Skill, Dez, Awesome Epic Guys, and Myland as well. These are events where you've got a 7v7 game mode, and these teams compete to gain points for their commander. The commander with the more points at the end gives everyone who joined that team a commander that they get for one vehicle or one nation of their choice, and they can put into any vehicle of that nation, and with custom voice lines recorded from that commander. And of course, the team with more points gets more crew skills for that commander. And everyone gets camos. They all get boosters. They all get, training booklets. There's a whole lot of bonuses you can get for this mode. I'm going to start off with my thoughts before we get into the gameplay here. I think that the mode itself is a lot of fun. If you're not taking it seriously, if you're just playing with your team to dick around, then this is a great game mode. I have been having a blast. I've been playing the FB4005 here, which we'll get into in a moment. And platoons are the way to go if you want to have the best time, of course. If you want to actually play to win, get yourself into a platoon. And there are definitely vehicles that are meta for this mode, so you're ideally wanting stuff that's mobile with a little bit of armor. So things like the Object 140, the WZ5A, the Object 277, the Object 430U, the IS-7 as well, all great choices. The Object 268 version 4, also pretty meta. Also, a really good way to do things is by taking 3 of the same class of tank, because then you're more likely to face your same class of tank, if that makes sense. Because the matchmaker tries to match up the teams based on what types of vehicles they have. They also try to match up platoons to platoons. So what happened this match is that these 2 platoons were matched together, and because one was 3 mediums, they had to find 3 medium tanks for the enemy team. But they also found a platoon for the enemy team here that had 2 TDs and an artillery. So therefore, on my team, they had to also have 2 TDs and artillery. So you can see here we've got a 277 on my team, a 5A on the enemy team, 3 Action X's in a platoon on my team. The enemy team has a Leopard 1, an Object 140, and a TVP T5051. Both teams have a shit barn, and then my team has an E4, the enemy platoon has a Foch B, and then the RT is a GWE100 and a Batchat 15558. Also, maps as well. There's definitely tanks that work better on different maps. The Centurion Action X is actually not a bad choice for this mode. In fact, most tanks you're gonna have a good time with. There's definitely some that do better than others. For example, I don't think that the E3, the T110 E3, I don't think that's a good choice for this mode. While it does have a lot of armor up front and it does have a meaty gun, it is very, very, very slow, and it is very vulnerable to being tracked. And there's a lot of people running autoloaders and auto reloaders, so your Your TVPs, your Bat Jets, your Progetto 65s, those are still actually not bad at all in this mode. And then obviously you've got the T-57 Heavy also. So things that can keep up with the team are great, and actually this is actually something that the FE4005, the shit barn, excuse the camera for a moment, this is something that this does pretty well actually. A lot of people don't realize this, but this actually has a pretty good power to weight. So let's get into the gameplay here. So we're on Malinovka. We've already been over the teams, and we have got the north spawn. Well, center north, I guess you could call it. Obviously, all these matches are in counter mode, because we want the longest possible cap timer. We don't want to focus too much on the cap at all times. Also, another thing, by the way, you'll note the little square below the team sheets. Those are where a perk that the commander for each team can choose and that can run for about an hour each time. That is where that would appear. It would tell you what perk is currently active. Of course, this being a replay, it's not going to show that. So, I'm telling the 277 to go hill because you tend to want to have your team stick together. Like, the E4 and the 277 really should have just stuck with the Centurions. Generally, if you go one side, like for example where our platoon is, you want to have everyone go there to then start pushing down that whole side and then pick off anyone who's alone there. As you can see, the enemy shit barn spotted over there, the enemy Foch B spotted on the hill. Foch B is not long for this world. 3 enemies in that bush. We had a chance to shoot the FB, we had a chance to shoot the Leopard, and the Leopard happened to stick around longer. You can see there, the Foch B already gone. Unfortunately, we already lost one of our Centurions. However, hot take, it's actually a bigger deal that the enemy team lost the Foch B than the Centurion. And the reason for that is because autoloaders are very, very strong at cleaning things up late game. So I'm going to just take a blind shot here. I'm expecting someone to still be here. Yeah, now that looks like it hit something, but in fact, it doesn't. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit. The TVP is currently double bushing on one of our Centurions. 277's push all the way to the south. Alone, he finds the Leopard one on low health, of course, because we slapped him for 1500. He is going to kill the Leopard. There he goes. Unfortunately for the 277, he is also going to find the 140 very soon. I take another blind shot soon. No, actually, no, I don't, actually. Now, I actually played this on stream as well. I've played this in a platoon with Dez and Sircon a little bit as well. And a little bit with Sircon and Iron Man as well. And it is a lot of fun. This is my go-to tank because it's fairly mobile and you've got the big gun. Now, this gun can absolutely turn matches around. And you're going to see that later on. The 140, as I was saying before, he finds our 277. I'm just going to speed things up a little because this is going to be a fairly lengthy match. It does go pretty much the entire time limit. And there's going to be a lot of waiting around. Because this tank, you want to use it to punish mistakes. You want to move around the map a lot, keep up with your team where they're going, and support them. And then basically whenever an enemy makes a mistake, you want to be punishing it. And you punish it very hard. If you've got an angle to pen someone, and they're giving you it, and you got time to aim in, take it. Absolutely take it. So we're going to move into the bushes behind the E4 now. Now the problem here is that there is Artie in the match. We don't want to get too close to the E4 because he's more likely to get spotted than we are, being further forward. He could potentially get spotted from the bushes where the TVP is right there. Good shots from the Centurion and the E4 there. Going back to normal speed now. So I am speeding up and slowing this match down. One big disadvantage of the FE, by the way, is if you do get yourself into a bad situation, you can see that you reverse pretty slow. And of course your turret doesn't rotate fully, so you've got to bear that in mind. I will also note that Artie is not actually a very good choice at all for this game mode, because there are a lot of maps that have city areas that make it very awkward. So we're trying to get shots on the TVP here, we need to get rid of him. That was kind of a snapshot, so we got a little bit lucky here. But we needed to remove him from the match. So we're going to speed up here. The 140 did get a shot on our E4. E4 pinged roughly where you got shot from. That's really good. Anytime you get shot like that, ping roughly where you were getting shot from. Now, I'm expecting the 140 to be kind of over by those rocks where the E4 pinged. Spoiler alert, not quite exact. Now, I obviously don't get spotted here, so we're gonna just speed up again. So I go into this bush here just to make sure that I don't get spotted. I don't. I then move up back into where I was before. Because if anything is gonna get spotted, I'm just gonna go into free cam for the moment. It's likely going to be over this way at this point, because the Centurion didn't find anything over here. So I'm going to be here. Now, the reason why I'm here is because I can shoot through these trees right here. If there's anyone down in this little trench, then they're going to get double bushed by me through these bushes, this tree, this bush, this tree, and then a couple other trees behind that as well. This is just something you have to pay attention to a lot when you're in this tank, because you don't have a great deal of camo. You want to be double bushing as much as you can on open maps like this, whenever possible. Obviously, you can lurk around corners to pick people off as well. Just keep your awareness. WZ making a big mistake here. We do have an opportunity to pen him here, but I rushed the shot a little bit. Turns out I had more time than I thought I did to actually pen him, but unfortunate. The 140 gets spotted on 943. Good shot by the E4, but his HE and it doesn't pen. That looks like it hit the tracks only, and he managed to get away. Didn't track him. Just gonna take my time, reload. We know he's gonna still be there, so we just get the kill on him. 500 damage, so we're at 2600 right now, just over. So of course we got the penning shot on the Leopard. And of course we know where the WZ is as well, because he's just going ham right now. This is a really bad move from him. He is of course trying to spot for his FV, who has now himself been spotted by the Centurion. And we just finish off the WZ. That's not even that much of a high roll. This is a 1750 alpha shot, so the Hesh rounds, 230 pen for 1750, so a tiny high roll, but not by a lot. I do carry a couple of AP just in case I do have to go through some particularly hard targets for around 1000, but I've not had to do that so far. A friendly Centurion spots the arty, kills him. Unfortunately, the shitbarn fires and kills him as well. I tell the E4 that we need to push forward here. And he obliges, he also presses the W key, which we really need him to be doing here. Now, I'm moving around, trying to keep all these bushes between me and where the FV was last spotted. Only 30 seconds left, well, 38 seconds left. Just the FV left, and he is on full health as well. He's not taking any damage this match. There, oh, we thought he did. The arty looks like he splashed him. We take aim, he's not spotted us, so we've got plenty of time here. He saw the E4. And we low roll. But luckily, arty to the rescue. Slap. There goes the enemy FV. This match with the blind shot on the 140 was just over 6,000 damage. Very, very good match for us. Now, you are not going to get this result every time. Essentially, what you want to be doing, like I was saying before, is punishing mistakes. This tank does very well, lurking around a corner, waiting for someone to peek against a teammate who's distracting them, and getting a shot on them when they make a bad, like, poke around a corner, essentially. Very, very fun tank to play as well, of course, because, well, let's face it, you can dirt people for, like, 1700, you can slap them for, like, 700 to 800, depending on what you're shooting, on a non-pen as well. In fact, I've gotten, like, 900 damage on a non-pen with this thing, in this mode as well. And of course you got the mobility to keep up with the rest of your team fairly well. Just bear in mind that your reverse gear is pretty slow, so you have to be very careful about making mistakes. But it is fairly flexible in terms of where you can go. You do have 10 degrees of gun depression, of course. The only downside is that you do have 8 degrees of gun elevation. So that's something else to keep in mind. And of course you have absolutely no armor. The hull will occasionally bounce some shots, and of course people can very easily donk shots into the tracks. But just don't expect to be bouncing anything in this thing. But like I say, the flexibility in terms of where you can go, and just how absolutely punishing this thing is for mistakes. Like for example, we saw on the TVP, low health, out in the open, easy one shot. And we saw on the leopard as well. He stayed way too long in that bush without me being spotted. Though we slapped him for 1500 also. And of course the WZ going way too ham when he didn't know where I was. He also got slapped as well. In fact, I don't think we were spotted the entire match. Which is pretty nice. That's kind of how you want to be in this thing. On open maps like this. You want to be unspotted. Because there's not a whole lot of cover. And on city maps where you do have cover, you're not as worried. But definitely worth trying in this mode. Definitely a good choice. Because of course, while you cannot use the FB183, well, FB215B183, because that's a reward tank now, unfortunately, or classed as such, that cannot be used in this mode. The Foch B is actually not a bad choice either, because let's face it, it's got a very big clip that that can very easily take out an entire tank, if not multiple tanks, depending on the health. But yeah, autoloaders very strong, tanks with mobility and armor very strong as well. The T110E4 is a very common pick also. It's partially turreted, has a very good gun in terms of alpha damage and pen. It's very threatening. You don't want to get slapped by that either. Anyway, guys, final thoughts on this mode. A lot of fun if you're not taking it seriously when playing solo. If you want to play to win, get into a platoon, take some really strong tanks out there, you're going to have a good time. Like, for example, those Centurions, they actually had really good matches as well. They did a bunch of spotting, they did a bunch of damage, like, that platoon got a total of 2 kills between them as well, which, actually, that's very important as well. Don't be afraid about taking low health kills. You have to do it. Taking a gun out of the match in this mode is even more important than it is in normal random battles. And last thing, don't treat this as random battles. Go into this as a wolf pack. Think of it as all sticking together, playing for one goal. If you're going to go aside, go together. And that'll give you the best chance to actually secure that side and give you some map control that you can then use to try and move around the map and then punish mistakes from enemy players appropriately. Anyway, guys, that's all from me for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. And I'm going to be trying to make a couple more videos when I can here and there. I've got a really good match in the P43 base from when I was 3 marking that. And hopefully we'll get some more footage of the mighty shit barn in Team Clash soon as well. If I get something particularly good, you can bet I'll be showing you it. For now, guys, that's all. Hope you all are having a good time in this mode. I certainly am. For now, guys, peace out.